Now that the bark is all dry, now let's start marking it up and get some paint on it and finish her up. Now that's all dry, we're going to make some marks in it. Now take tweezers or maybe a sharp hobby knife at the end and just start making scratches in the bark parallel to the branches, and then we'll get ready to get it painted. For paint, I'm just using regular enamel here at Crayon. Any kind of color would be okay, but I'm using dark brown and I'm following it up with light brown or tan. On the first coat of the dark brown, make sure you get all the surfaces covered, make sure all that gray gets filled up, and you basically have a brown tree when you're all done. And once you're all done, let it dry real good, and you can start seeing some of the bark coming out of the tree right now. And then the next step we're going to do, I'll put a lighter tan color on top, and that's going to really bust the bark out so you can see it a lot more than what it is right now. So let's let that dry for a little bit and get the can ready for the next one. Now as it dry, we're going to put the lighter tan color on it, and this one now I'm not spraying as hard. I'm just letting the fine mist at the end of the spray to cover the tree. Make sure you try to cover all the dark areas that you sprayed before, and very light, doesn't need to be heavy. You're just trying to bring the bark out a little bit. And now you can see, if you compare it to the other one, it's got a little bit more. The bark has got a little depth to it now because your darker colors are the ones that sunk into the crevices, and your lighter ones are now on top, which highlights all the crevices and the little knots and everything else that might appear in the tree. And you can see the clumps. It all looks good. It looks pretty good so far. So now we're going to add some more depth to the bark by highlighting it gray. I'm using a color called bone gray. It's you can use whatever gray you wish. This one seems to suit better for trees because most trees are not brown or tan. The older ones are gray. If you look at any dark gray, look at any tree, they're mostly dark gray. So what you do, you fill your brush up and then clean it all out, and then just go over each branch with a very light coat. You're just grazing over the top. You're not painting. You're kind of highlighting all the big bumps and lumps and everything else. So the parts that are gray and tan are still there, but they're deep in the recesses, so you can actually see bark, resemblance of bark. At least for this scale, it turns out pretty good. As you can see, you can start seeing the bark, just start seeing the bark divisions. And so far, I'm happy with what's going on. So it looks very good. So. Next step, we're going to highlight everything to really make it pop out at you. So stick around, it won't be much longer. Next, we're going to use panel line accent color. We're going to use black. And what this is, it's a mixture of paint and water. It's dissolved paint. It's just very runny paint. If you want to make your own, you can just go ahead and make it like 10 parts water and 1 part paint. And what we're going to do is dip it in there, kind of clean the brush off again, and just start globbing it on there and brush it all out. It's actually, you're painting it black, but it's a very light black, and it goes in crevices and nooks and knots, and just highlights everything with a depth. We use it in model cars for accenting door panels and trunks, but here we're going to do it on the bark. Make sure you get it all covered. You might have to do it a couple times when you find out that you missed a spot. And here's the final result. You can see some gray in it. You can see some black in it. You got some brown in it. It's kind of wet right now, but it will dry clear. I see some spots I missed, which I'll come back and do it. That's why you should do it a couple times, just to make sure you got everything. Do it under light. You can see this whole area right there is missed on the side there. You can see that I'm pointing to it right there. So, but other than that, I'll get that touched up, and I won't be able to finish it all what I thought on part 4 with adding the leaves and everything to the top. That we'll have to take another video for, and I hope you can stick around for that one too. I will get on it right away. Thanks for watching, and Now we start with the greenery.